So here we have the leaven and the water. I'm just going to mix this quickly, like this. See, it takes only 1 or 2 minutes for the flour to absorb the water. Now you can see that the flour has absorbed all of the water, and now we can add the salt. The salt is in. I'll take the dough out. If you put your hand on the dough for just 1 or 2 seconds, the dough grabs you. But if you are very quick, it doesn't. So, watch this, a little bit of wetting of the hands. And if you are quick, look, it doesn't grab you. So it is pushing and pulling, no grabbing. Because if you grab, it starts grabbing you. And look at that, once you get the speed going, there's no stickiness. About 20 rock and rolls will be enough. Just making sure that all of the water is absorbed and there are no lumps in the dough. Okay, so that's about 20 rock and rolls. Again, use the scraper to collect the dough. You can quickly chafe it by using the tension of the work surface, like that, you see. Tighten into a ball, put it into the bowl there, and that's done. I'll cover it and leave it for an hour. Okay, so after about an hour, we're going to take our dough out of the bowl. Look how relaxed it becomes, just 1 hour. And also a quick little window test shows that it's very smooth. And look at that. And now when you roll it, remember what I said, if you roll the dough onto itself, it tightens up. Give it about 20 rock and rolls to really help it develop further. It behaves. Amazing, and it's not sticky. Quick chafe. Either using your scraper or using your hands, pulling it towards you like that. Chafes it really nicely, tightens the bowl. Just to show you that this dough is quite wet and quite sticky, I'm going to break it up a little bit. Look at that. As soon as I start breaking it up, the water starts coming out onto the surface. And look how sticky it becomes. Can you see that? There you go. Stickier and stickier. Okay? And my hands start getting sticky too. I'm going to wet them a little bit. So break it up as soon as the gluten is broken. However, use your scraper and you can quickly tighten it by folding it onto itself. And by chafing it a little bit. That's it, almost done. And now you can do rock and rolling, like that. And now it's ready to go back into the bowl. Beautiful and lively. So this is the second stage of the dough. I call it the jellyfish stage because of this kind of jellyfish effect. The dough is really wonderfully alive, more than doubled in size, and it's very airy and quite wet, as you can see. Now we are going to shape it, prove it, decorate it and bake it. How to scoop the really quite wet dough out of the bowl without messing it up. One of the tricks that we had learned earlier is wetting your hand. So the dough doesn't stick to it. And then you scoop the dough out like that, scooping it around, basically chafing it, and there it is. Look at that, lovely and smooth. Look at that bubble, fantastic development. So before we finally shape this dough, we are going to pre-shape it to organize it a little bit more and to tidy it up. And you do this with the scraper. So I'm pre-shaping it into a ball. This is very young dough and it's got very good strength to it. It's got its legs, it's got the muscles, and it's very bouncy. I tidied it up and it's quite nice and firm. One trick you can do with the dough when it's very wet is to cool it down a little bit. So you put it in the fridge, and after about half an hour it's going to be cool and very easy to deal with. I have made plenty of dough for 2 loaves, so I'm going to divide the dough. Divide it into 2 balls, which will make 2 loaves. But as you can see, it's really nice and messy on one side where it's been cut. And also you can see how glistening it is there. That's where the water is slowly leaking out, while it's quite dry on the surface. If you want to add a little bit of dough to your bowl, you just add it to the side, not on the top, because you don't want to ruin the shape on the top. We got some smooth area here. This is what we are going to develop. I avoid using flour at this stage, but for you I suggest that in the beginning you use a little bit of flour, which immediately removes the stickiness of the dough. Okay, and now is the time for us to make it nice and smooth. Beautiful smooth dough on the top. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. See, there are no rough areas. Everything's been tucked underneath. I'm gonna leave it for about 15 minutes and then shape it finally. I'll show you how to pre-shape this without the flour. You see how sticky it is. So you have to be very quick. And here we go. Don't allow the dough to follow your spatula. You see, I'm using the surface tension to push against. As I'm pushing against, the dough dries on the surface. When you push the dough against the surface, it dries up on its surface, look, as it tightens. And it's easier to pre-shape it then. We didn't need any flour at all, look, it's done. When you are dealing with really wet doughs, line up your panettone, if it is this type, without any cotton lining inside. Line it with rice flour. That will prevent the dough from sticking to the panettone and go inside the grooves of the panettone. The rice flour is really dry and it's fantastic for this job. I'm going to slightly flour the surface and then rock and roll it onto itself, pulling the ears in a little bit until I come to the end, turn it onto its back again, and then rock and roll it again, and then chafe it into a lovely ball. Help yourself with a scraper and tuck it until it's really beautifully tight. Once I'm sure that the bowl is sealed underneath, I collect it very carefully and put it gently into the panettone, like a baby into a cot. You don't want to drop it in there, otherwise all the flour is going to fall in. Okay, now quick little turn You support it with one hand, left or right, and then gently dropping it into the pre-floured bonneton. And have a look at here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4th line. Once it comes to about second and a half line, it will be ready for baking. See, nice and tight, bouncing back quickly. Okay, as you can see, the dough is beautifully proved. The line is number 2 on the bonneton. 1, 2. It's ready. So I'm going to transfer it onto the peel. Notice this dilapidated old grease-proof paper. You can use them repeatedly. There it goes, look at that, smooth little turn. And it's ready for poke test. Look at that, it comes up quite quickly, but it feels very, very airy underneath. Look at that one, coming slowly.